a finale is here. We will see the end of us, I'm assuming, conquering what is beyond the horizon here, as our two are in the separate dimension almost, and we'll be battling against the core here to kind of free themselves and bring Mirai back to our real world. And I'm just excited to see, I guess, how that kind of progresses. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you like it all, like and subscribe to me on. Maybe feel free to stick around for the discussion. Let me know comments for this episode or series. Let's get going with the finale of the season TV version of Beyond the Boundary. I get her feelings for that, but there's a reason to bring you back. There's an opportunity.
先輩は普通の人間になってくださいだ。誰がそんなこと望んだ？誰がいつ頼んだんだよ。
I wish to live in being cursed like you.
不愉快なのは僕の方だ。とにかくそんなの認めない。栗山さんの犠牲の上に成り立つ人生なんて未来だって。何の意味もない。そんなこともわからないのか。
Reasonable from both sides, I would say.
分かってなかったのかよ。
Okay, so she never thought, so that thing I said last time was not happen at all. My little fella. Sakura's like, I can't either, I'm with you. After all the research you've done, you don't know? Bro, what?
大人同士のうだうだにいつまでこの子たちを付き合わせるつもりよ。異界視協会はもう動いてるのよ。
She's kind of like the other guy with the clone versions.
ちゃん、秋人と未来ちゃんはただのヨウムと異界視ではない。特別な存在なの。よろしく頼みます。
Can you explain a little more? Oh my god.
知りませんよ。もともとは先輩の中に入ってたんですよ。
You should know this more than me. I think it was literally a part of you.
弱点とかですよ。ほら、例えば先輩と同じで脇の下が弱いとか。
Okay.
あいつの脇の下ってどこだよ。
じゃあ嫌いなものとかないんですか？何でもいいんです。
嫌いなものか。子持ち死者も。
I don't think that'll work. Then the fear into
わか
it.
ったのかな。
Oh, that's sick.
栗山さん。
That's crazy. Bro said, "Oh, let me use my hand." Bro's powers.
教会の彼方、先輩の一部だったなんて。先輩、教会の彼方の力の一部がその手に宿ってるんです。方法はわかりません。
But it gives you something, you know? Yeah, at least you can fight as well.
教会の彼方がそれだけ強いヨウムなのか、それとも栗山未来の意志がそれだけ強いのか。
後者に決まってるでしょ。
We got some business to handle.
いい男じゃない。あんたを倒すのに。
お前じゃない。
There we go. That's the one I'm
今日は
interested
遅いです
in.
ね待ってたんですよ。ずいぶん強くなったでしょう。
Somebody helped
うつろ
you.
な影を
Well,
いただいてやっと様
oh
に
yeah,
なって
he
きました
did
よ
use the shit. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. That's the final thing he really needed to level it up. Wow.
悪いが俺は
I thought they could do hand-to-hand combat.
第一ですか。
いいえ、
That's 4.
対1よ。
Maybe even 5 if you count sweet
末
potato.
っ子という理由で小さい頃からお留守番専門だったのよ。いい加減卒業させてもらいます。遠い。
We got 5.
もともと私が預かったもん。
I want it back.
ずいぶん仲良くなったようですね。
Bro's about to unleash some crazy power. Or he's just boxing them in. Yeah.
さあ、これで邪魔は入りませんよ。
So similar to what they have going on the other end here.
もう一息です。
You ain't interfering in what we're doing.
よし、鍵は刺さってる。
先輩免許持ってるんですか？
ここは行動じゃないだろ。
It's not like it's real either. Let's go. Just like hop on and she
そこ
left her behind.
なぜならもう止まっても間に合う。
The fuck? Come on, buddy. Pull some sick shit out here. What a sight. Nice. He stuck the landing too. Oh my god. Grab her. Safe for the time being.
でたらめすぎる。
It doesn't stop. She's been fighting for months on end.
焦ってます。
わかるのか。
わかりません。でもそんな気がするんです。きっとなんとかな。
I wonder if this is also a state where like time doesn't pass, you know, or it does, but extremely slow. That's why she's able to do it for like months on end. Also, she has like unlimited like agility and shit in here.
不愉快なほどポジティブなんです。
She's already prepped to die, so like shit if I die again. Come on, Mirai to the core. God, there's so many of them.
栗山さん、行けー。
Nice. I like how it pops like a balloon. It's like glass, but not. Huh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What the fuck?
クリア
Well, it's a sick visual. I don't know what's happening, but it's sick.
未来から解放され、すべてのヨウムを飲み込んで巨大な渦となり、世界を崩壊させます。
What the fuck?
さて、どうします？
栗山さん、
What the fuck?
殺さないで。気持ち悪い。化け物。
これは僕の。
Your memories of what though?
お兄ちゃんに任せとけ。
ヒロミ先輩キモい。
Yes, absolutely. Love how it, even in a serious moment.
その顔、あなたのそんな顔が見たかった。恐怖に怯え、焦り。
Bro's weird, I'm not gonna lie, he's kinda weird.
とする姿。そんなに怖いですか？ああ、ひょっとして僕のことが好きだったか？それとも自分の過去を兄弟に知られたくないとか？
ヨウムに屈した怒りしが。
体に飼う者同士じゃないですか。知ってました？弟さん。
Mmm.
いつみ姉さん。
But nobody's been able to detect that?
確かに同じかもしれない。でも私はまだ人間としての誇りを捨ててはいない。あなたと一緒にしないで。
So it's essentially him giving his humanity up for strength and stuff as a result, I'd assume. I don't know her reasons.
姉さん。
We'll talk later, there's a lot of shit going on.
目をつむれ。いいから。
Huh.
惑わされるな。ヨウムって人の心の歪みや憎しみが形になったものだっていう。
Right.
僕たちの心の弱さが形となって現れてるんだよ。
Okay, gotcha. Alright, now that makes more sense. I was confused with what they were saying before.
世界は変わった。 自分の過去の後悔にとらわれるな。栗山さんはもう一人じゃない。
You can fight through this together. Have each other for it.
僕がいる。先輩。目を開けて。
これ何ですか？
We got one last ride.
です。
Start slashing those that are close and important to you. Well, actually, those are all like illusions in a way. She's so clean with it. Oh shit! Go away.
だったのか。
Holy fuck. There's so much. There's a lot of money here. I hate that it's the first place my mind goes. She'll finally be able to eat. Once the market's too inflated with it. It is. It's a really pretty area though. Especially with the light of all the stones. What the fuck? That's a human hand. Bro said, not right now.
お前は全部僕だ。全部僕の中にあったものだ。
We're basically one.
という絶望も見捨てられた悲しみも誰かを傷つけた後悔もわがままも猜疑心も
Feed all your own anger and everything into it, right?
何一つ外になんか出さない。それは全部僕のものだ。全て僕が持っていく。僕は不死身の汎用だ。
Holy shit. Bro said I will be harboring all of this.
先輩。
Oh, what the fuck?
お願いがあるんですけど。
お
Uh-oh.
願いって。
手を出してください。
Actually, I have no clue what that was on her leg that's preventing the movement. Even though I could start thinking it was.
撫でて
What she did when she was alone.
撫でて欲しいんです。
With the soulless version.
栗山さん。
She sounds happy, but it sounds kind of
言っ
creepy.
てください。
ありがとう。
心がこもってる。
ありが
Yeah,
とう。
it don't sound like you're uncertain. I thought something like that might happen with her leg, but why?
栗山さん。
Is it just that, or is it all of her?
栗山さん、足が。
先輩の中に教会の彼方が戻ったんです。ここはもうすぐ崩壊します。私も多分消えます。本当の私はもうとっくにいませんから。私、先輩に出会えて本当に良かったです。
よせ。
本当に先輩のこと好きになってよかったです。
やめろ。言うな。
本当にありがとうございました。
栗山さん。嘘だろ。待てよ。栗山さん。栗山さん。
Just leaves behind the ring, suppressing it all. Piece of her. I'm probably gonna have to go back and rewatch. I'm rather confused what just happened there.
でいたのか。それとも栗山さんが頑張ったおかげかはわからない。僕としては断然後者を推したいのだが、とにかく教会の彼方は僕の中に戻り、世界は平穏を取り戻した。
For the time being.
弥勒の行方は知れず、 異界種協会の名を語って活動していた
Of
という
course.
線で全てが片付けられ
Of course.
泉さんに加え広海が名家の統括としてその座につくという変化はあったが
Huh.
特に生活に変わりはな
泉姉さん、俺はずっと姉さんに憧れて姉さんのようになろうと思ってやってきた。けどやめる。俺は姉さんのようにはならない。分かったんだ。理想を持って行動し、決してそれがうまくいかなくても理想を失ってしまったらそこからは何も生まれない。
Hmm.
自分も大切な人も守れない。
前が情け。
分かっています。
Jesus.
そう
My.
美月は相変わらず部室にこもり僕を罵倒している
But the bonsais
栗山
remain.
未来はいない
No, they don't.
結局僕は負けてしまったのだ栗山未来の犠牲の上に成り立っている未来なんて何の意味もない今頃栗山さんは言っているだろうざまあ見ろと不愉快です夜にだって光があるように昼にだって闇があるように世界から闇が消えることはない同時に世界が闇で埋め尽くされることもないそんな曖昧な色の中でこれからも全てが進み決められていく
That's all very true.
僕は
Lads, I gotta be honest, I got no clue what the fuck's happening. I haven't for the past like 10 minutes. But she just disappeared from the ring, so I'm assuming she reappears somewhere for some reason. Likely where they initially
メ
met.
ガネが要するにメガネをかけた栗山さんが大好きです
不愉快です
あらかじめそう定められていたのかそれとも栗山さんが頑張ったおかげかはわからないそれとも僕の栗山さんへの思いが届いたのかこうして僕と栗山未来は再会したこんな二人がこの時限りの関係で終わるとしたら全ての物語はこの世に存在できない
Sure. I guess.
忘れ物だよ
This is the blue ones you wanted to get
この
her?
メガネを
Oh no, it's just hers. It's like it didn't happen. Hey, yeah, so I was like lost, or I felt like I was, so I decided, and I didn't have time to, you know, go back through and figure some stuff out and then talk yesterday, so I decided, all right, we're going to take a day break, and then I'm going to come back, and I edited the other version, so I basically got to rewatch the last episode again, and then I was like, all right, then we'll give some thoughts and opinions, because I almost felt like it would be unfair if I was like, especially how I left things off, and I was like, I'm kind of confused on everything, right? And then just to give you some thoughts overall about it, and the way that the ending kind of came about, and then not have a clue what I'm talking about. So I figured maybe I should go back through and try and figure it out a bit more. And to say I fully understand would be wrong, because I don't, and I'm left with a lot of questions and uncertainty, and maybe people can clarify that for me. But it's just, I'm gonna lay out kind of what I think went down, what I liked about it, what I didn't like, what I would have preferred, and we're just gonna kind of go there. Typically I do like, okay, let's talk about the episode and then let's talk about like the series as a whole, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that because we still have like a movie and stuff to go through, and it almost feels like some of the things I have questioned would probably get answered there. So it's like I should kind of hold out a little bit before we do, because it's not like the whole end of it. So this is almost going to be like a feelings overall about the way things ended, but at the same time about the series up to this point. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of go into it from there. Now, a lot of my answers and things, I definitely still would appreciate comments, like people just letting me know their own thoughts, opinions, and what went down. But I'm going to actually be done with the movie and everything prior to this even being up. So, you know, take that how you will. So if I'm still confused as we go into there, just be aware of that. Yeah, so it seemed like we got to a point, and I was questioning a lot of things that were kind of occurring, but we got to a point where Mirai at the end, this is the sequence at the end, and actually I'll pull it up on screen so we can all follow along with where I'm at in my thought process here. So we get to a point here where initially we break through, Mirai breaks through and she frees herself from the curse of this thing, and from being kind of consumed by it, which then leaves us in this weird void state that we're almost in, and then we have to go and we kind of battle against it in a way where Akihiro sees like the manifestation almost of the other half of himself, when that version of the thing beyond the horizon here was kind of here, or within him, and when that part of the dream shade was the version of himself, and he essentially goes up and battles against that, in the process taking on and bearing like all the anger and every like all the emotions and the things that kind of come along with it, causing a fusion almost of him getting that, and I'm assuming gaining full control over it, so it won't randomly come out at certain moments, causing harm and things in the process, and he kind of has full control over this while still being this half beast in a way, which is kind of makes him OP in the process, which is like pretty cool, I guess, you know, if we want to go a route like that. And it would make sense if you're like, okay, we're going to end the series here and he's kind of conquered the thing that's at the end of the end, but that's not also the case. So it leaves me a little like, I'm confused there, but all right, we'll keep going. And then we see in a state where Mirai kind of just breaks down and she's like, yo, thanks, you know, love you, like all that, whatever, but I got to disappear now and it's over for me. And this is where I started getting really confused. So I guess it would make sense if we assume the only reason that Akihiro has a version of himself living is due to the fact that he was half. So he still had another form, so regardless if he got kind of taken into this mode or where he was before, he still had a human mode to fall back on, so he was still alive at the end of the day, whereas Mirai doesn't, and she's just her. So the moment her consumption and her isolation into this other dimension and everything kind of began, she disappeared essentially from our real world, and she just doesn't exist anymore. So then she existed in this state and in this area where I was under the assumption, okay, we're gonna fight with her, and if we can do this, we can free her from it, and then she can be brought back. But that doesn't seem to be the case in the slightest. It seems to be she's trapped within it, and if she defeats it, then it kind of is gone entirely, and it becomes like powerless. But at this point, we end up seeing Akihiro almost absorbs it into himself and becomes one with it. But if that weren't to happen and she were to lose the battle, it would mean the end for basically everybody else involved. So it was still an important thing for her to go out and do, but it had absolutely no hold on if she actually can return or not. That meant absolutely nothing up to this point, which then leads us to a point where she starts disappearing because there's nothing for her to do, and this area that we're in, this dimension almost is kind of crumbling. So she, along with it, is like this supernatural being that's within it and shouldn't actually be here, and she's kind of disintegrating in the process. That's the assumption I think I'm at now, which is not really what I was thinking at the time, but what after my second watch of it, I'm starting to feel a little bit, and I don't know, once again, if that's even remotely true to what's going on. So that leaves us behind to a point where there's just a ring and he's able to latch onto this. So at the time I was making the assumption that she probably just like spirit and all just went into this and became a part of this ring, but I'm also not thinking that's the case anymore, and more so this is just a piece of her that gets left behind for whatever reason. This is the only part of her that gets left behind, I guess because it's a physical attachment, but also so is the glasses and a bunch of other things, so I'm not understanding exactly why. I guess plot convenience reasons, whatever. So that happens, and then it's like, okay, well, he has this piece of her as like a remembrance almost, so, you know, he'll never actually forget this person. I don't know if, you know, everybody else kind of forgets who she is or what happens, you know, at this point, but he can definitely remember due to him having and holding on to this object that we get. So we get all the way to this end scene now where he takes a look at the ring and it kind of just disappears as he's looking at it, as he's thinking of her, and then he's like, oh shit, it's happening, and he runs up on the roof and then she's there, and same kind of similarities of a situation where we met in the first place, which once again, it's like, why is she here? I'm not getting that. The only thing that I can think of, which I guess would get answered in the movie if so, because that has to be a direct continuation, right? So the only assumption I can kind of make is it's a similar scenario to when she was trapped away, how she had like a soulless version of him. kind of involved, which is like was like the manifestation almost of like her own thoughts and like whatever it is that she kind of wanted around her at the time, and they isolated her with, it would be like a similarity to he's fully in control of this thing now, so he obtains these certain powers or these things to give himself and bring these things kind of into this universe and into this world. I guess could make sense, which is like the only thing that I can possibly think of. And if that would be the case, that means that she's here but it's not her, like it's not the version that we know. So I guess it could be, but it could be a version where he implements almost like a personality of like his own feelings and like things of like who he thinks that she is into it. And that's what we're kind of left with, or we're just kind of left with like the soulless version. And then we would have to go on like some sort of journey or thing within the movie would be, I guess, to kind of bring that back. But it just doesn't seem like she would be here as like her fully, oh, okay, she's back completely good and we brought her and everything's the same. And almost I feel like that's an indication of her not having the glasses, but I guess at the same time it could just be the last time we saw her in this world she didn't have her glasses. So now she does, because he's going to give them to her because she doesn't actually spawn back in. I say spawn, but she essentially spawns back in here. But she does, she has emotions. We can see that. Like right here, we can see that. So it's not the same state that he was in. But that's like the only thing I can think of is the direction that would go. So that's kind of where my mind's at now. It just feels like I don't know. It just feels like they didn't have enough time to explain things. Or a possible poor choice of words with dialogue, or just the script itself. It leaving and omitting information that probably should have been explained. And it could just be me. Maybe you guys get it completely. Maybe I'm completely out of the loop. You know, maybe I'm the only one that doesn't understand this in the slightest. I don't know. That could be the case, right? Who absolutely knows? I have zero clue. I guess I'll find out when this goes up if you guys were also left confused at any sort of point. But I feel like usually if I am, I can pick back up on it just through the edit. Like usually something kind of becomes a bit more clear because I almost know like other things to be looking for, or based on like the way I ended, I can like start looking for little things within it that helps me pick up on some stuff. And I don't think I grabbed too much more when I went back through that I wasn't almost thinking already. And it leaves me really confused because it's not even just that and the choice of that. I said it in episode 11 leading into this, the concern almost that I was having with so many different questions and things that I had that didn't get answered just yet. And I was like, I don't think they're going to have time for it. And once again, that's why I said I want to like not give full thoughts overall as like this is a series as a whole, due to the fact that there's a movie and we could have a lot of answers in it. But it's like we get answers for like, not answers, but we reveals of stuff, you know, connections and the things that what is Akihito's mother, her connection, or what it is that Izumi kind of knows about her, what it is that she knows and how she's aware of like a bunch of these things. Like we don't get, you know, him needing to have a conversation with her and understanding himself and like where he came from, like how all this stuff kind of came about and happened. None of that answered yet. Completely unaware, and she just pops back in like randomly at the end when it just, and it leaves more questions there. Izumi, all of a sudden she's half shade, we find out, or she has part of it kind of within her, which is not something that we would have known or had any reason to suspect for 12 episodes until we get to this point, you know? It's like, where does that come from? And then it leaves me questioning the moment we see Mirai come into the world, right? Or the moment we see her come into the story, and we get to see her interactions when she sees somebody like or even when she sees somebody like Akihito and all this, she can like sense and she's aware this person has part of the shade kind of within them. Like they can tell that. We also see when all of the shades or anybody who has like these versions of them kind of within it are floating up to the sky when all of that's kind of being sucked in for Beyond the Horizons here, right? And the shade's kind of doing all of that. It's like she didn't have any of that effect on her. It's like, why is she able to be so strong that she can suppress it and absolutely nobody else is capable of it? And then we see the same thing with this other guy who apparently has it in too, the Hunter Association guy, who apparently is one as well, likely selling out for possible different reasons, but also then his reasonings behind everything that he's doing, we've been led to believe is just, okay, I have to go after the clan the whole time because that's all they've built us on this entire like series, and it's not made much sense of like why exactly he has his anger and he's out for like what he is. But it's like, all right, I mean, I guess that makes enough sense. They're trying to put a stop to this person and the people that are kind of at the top of the chain here, which I guess that happens plenty of times where people try and kind of revolt against them. So we have, you know, this uprising of others and this organization and stuff come in and do it. All right, I can get behind that, sure, it makes sense. But then they like almost reveal to us down the back end and they're like, oh, by the way, he's just like evil to be evil. Like he just wants the world to be like over. So he's just like causing mayhem for like no reason. It's like, why would they, why do they want that? Like that doesn't, that's not just getting rid of the clan. It's like, he's not saving them or anything in the process either. So does he just view himself entirely as like the world would be better if the shades just take over? Like, I don't get it. I don't know. That just, it doesn't make sense. And like I said, these are questions that could be answered throughout the movie. But it's like, even if they are, I guess that works for the series as a whole, but it leaves you at a point just looking at a piece of work separated as in this is the TV series. It leaves way too many questions and it doesn't wrap nearly anything up in a nice way, how I'm feeling at least. And it's like almost like they try to and they play into and they try and get poetic with it by the back end. And they're like, you know, if all of a sudden like our interaction was just kind of like this and there wouldn't be a story to be told, you know, if we didn't end up having this meeting again or like coming, it's like, I guess, but I almost would have preferred if Mirai didn't come back. Cause it's just like, it feels cheap to just bring them back. Like, I don't know. I've never liked stories that do that have like revival with no like real, I don't know, substance or things that's been kind of explained up to that point, especially because it's not something that we've been really aware of for like the entire series or something. It's something that just kind of got thrown on us here in the last episode or two, was even like a possibility. And even then it didn't get explained it was a possibility. So it's just here. So we have to make the assumption. And it's just like, I don't know. I've never liked that, especially when you do like bait deaths and then just actually have a reason, like somebody can come in and like heal somebody or whatever. It's just like, I don't know. I'm not for that. I get it if it's a narrative thing, if you tie it in, if you do something where like you have to, it like a similarity where somebody gets cursed or something by a thing, right? And then you have to go and defeat that thing to relieve that person of their curse and then allow that person to be free and then be a person again from it. It makes sense, right? And I've seen other series do that where you have to like, somebody like gets trapped in this state or they die or something happens and then you have to go and defeat somebody or something as a way to kind of relieve it, all of the effects of what this other person or being is kind of done. But I don't feel that here. I don't think that happens at all, actually, because it's not like we defeated it and then he absorbed it and then I guess he got the ability to kind of do it as a result, but it just, I don't know, it doesn't feel the same as other series in ways that I've kind of seen it done, almost because I think it's explained like flat out, like, yeah, this will happen if you do this, you know. Whereas like here, it doesn't get explained in the slightest. Like, oh yeah, she's going to be gone. It's like she hid that the whole time and he wasn't aware that that was going to occur until it did. And then like 2 minutes later in the series, she's back. And then it just like all emotions and things about it are kind of gone, which at the same time, I didn't have that connection or feeling towards any of the scenes. Just because I guess I was actually just baffled by what was happening. I had no clue where we were going. So I couldn't even feel it. It was just like, I guess that's happening now. Like, it just left me in a state of confusion. So I don't know. That might have ruined some enjoyment as a result. But I don't know. It just leaves me with so many questions. It doesn't leave me like certain, like, I'm feeling good about this. And I'm not saying like, and we don't need things to wrap up nicely. We don't. I like when stories sometimes just go down like shitty routes to end. And they just like, here, we're just going to end things like this and you're going to have to deal with it. And it's just like, sometimes it's bad, but sometimes it's like, yeah, we don't need happy endings and like all these like good things and they don't have to like come full circle. It's just, we can leave it as, yeah, this person died and we had to live with the consequences. You know, they came in, they had a journey, they had something to do and I had to like kill you and do this. It didn't happen the way that they expected or the way that they were kind of hired to go out of their way and do. But at the end of the day, they got the job done. and then we leave it at that. But instead we add a whole nother scene, and it's like, nah, she's back, by the way. They just keep that. I don't know. Doesn't really add up to me. Doesn't really make much sense. But I guess we keep going and we see. There's even like the Hiromi stuff, and he takes over as the clan leader. Like, what happened with Izumi that like they were all like so against? Because once again, they don't go into detail, so I don't fully understand that. Like, what happened? I guess he idolized and he looked up to her, and then he like finds out these things about her and the way that she's been operating and doing things, which makes him kind of lose sight and focus of that. But for whatever reason, she steps down, or whatever reason, they kind of don't appoint her anymore. They appoint him instead to be taking over. And then he has like this weird tone towards the other guy about it, and he's like angry about like, you know, and focused, it seems like, on what he needs to do to like fix things and make things different and better. But it's like, what happened with her? Why was like, what was his big issue with her? Was it just the fact that she kind of went out of her way to do things for the family and everything and set up somebody like Mirai? But I don't know. I still don't personally have that much issue with what she did there. And she just kind of up and disappeared, and we don't really get a resolution for her by the back end. We don't really get much explained for her either. So for him either in his situation. And then it just felt like we had like a middle section for the series where we allowed Sakura to kind of come in and be a character, and then we did like no development or use for her throughout it. It kind of feels like the same thing almost with Mitsuki. She's just kind of there the whole time. Like, I feel like she almost had no purpose or importance within it. And we played into a little bit early on how she had like some importance, especially when it came to Akihiro, and a lot of that never really came to life that much. I don't know. It just, a lot of it just feels weird to me. And maybe a lot of that gets answered. There is an OVA, there is a movie. But I don't know. I don't know how to feel. It just, well, I do know how to feel. It just, I don't like how it feels. So I'm just, I don't know. I'm kind of left. It's not the typical style that we usually go for when I'm going through and talking about these, but it's because I don't think I've ever once, we've been doing this for almost 2 years now, and I don't think I've ever once sat here at the end of a series or the end of like something like this and just been like, what, like, what? That doesn't, I don't get that, you know? Oh, I guess because I drop a lot of the ones that do that, but I enjoyed this for the most part. You know, it wasn't the best thing that I've ever seen, but it was fairly enjoyable. And it tracked, and I liked a lot of the stuff they were doing up until the end. And then it just felt like we had to rush a lot of these things. And it felt like a lot of it didn't get explained in ways that I would have liked. I don't know. Well, I guess that's all I'm going to really have. That's all I really wanted to say here. Hopefully some of that makes sense. Explain it still, regardless of when this ends up getting up and when you see it, and what I kind of know now after watching probably the movie and everything. It would still be cool just to know. Of course, I can always expand my knowledge and gain new appreciation for things, and, you know, correct my misunderstandings and stuff if there is stuff that you can explain. But let me know if you felt the same way too, I guess, as I do. I don't know. Maybe I'm not alone in this. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of leave it at that. I'm probably gonna go watch the OVA. It depends on the contents of it. If it's kind of lame, I probably won't upload it. If it's cool, I'll upload it. We're going to do the movie regardless, so we'll upload that anyway, so you'll get to see. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for joining here, I guess. If you like that, I'll like and subscribe to me a lot to me. Feel free to check out the videos on the channel. Leave me the comments of this episode or series. I'll be back for either the OVA or the movie. Hope you guys have a great one. Peace.